Now let's finish up our head. So let's create a neck before we do. Oh, actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's create a neck first. So let's take this symmetry out and bake it down. So we'll make it editable. Remember, that gives us our head without the symmetry on it. And for the neck, I'm just going to take a selection of polygons at the base. And it doesn't have to match up as far as the resolution with anything else, because this is going to turn into his sort of shirt. So let's do an extrude inner. Kind of pull this down a little bit. And then before we extrude it out, we can kind of come in and scale it down and kind of flatten it a little bit. Let's scale it in the X. And then we can sort of make it a little bit more circular shaped. So let's take these corner points and just scale those in a little. And you can see we can start to get a little bit more of a cylinder look there. Now let's do an extrude. And we'll pull this kind of straight down. So we'll be able to kind of place it later, but we can delete those polygons. And then let's use our knife to add a couple lines in there, and then we can come in and just temporarily sort of scale those down. So we get something like that, and we can integrate it with the shirt as we go. One thing I do want to add is I want a little bit more detail on the head here. And so one of the ways we can do that is to add a little bit of kind of wrinkle. So let's come in, and I'm just going to grab this edge and sort of pull it in. Grab this one. Just pull it up a little bit, and then let's grab these and pull those in a little. And so we can start to create a little bit more. And let's drop this back into the subdivision surface and create some kind of wrinkling up there on the, which can just add a little bit. Okay. And you can see those sharp lines in there. So I'm going to turn off the angle limit. And if you want this to extend back around, then you can kind of grab these corresponding points here, pull that out, and then it'll extend it back down a little bit more. Let's add a little bit of kind of a chin here. So let's grab some polygons. Let's do kind of these 4. Turn this off temporarily. And let's just do an extrude. So I'll kind of extrude that out. And then I'm just going to kind of scale this down. And I want to also sort of rotate it back towards the body. Bring it down a little bit. Kind of want to see what that looks like. All right. So if you want to shape that a little bit more, you can see it's kind of, square, a little bit too square. You can do a little bit to ease that by pulling those in. And then if you want to, you can, again, depending on your workflow, if you can use triangles, then you can just blend this back in, or you could actually, for instance, so if I take this and let's weld these points back into the face. So weld them back in. So now you can see I'm making triangles on the side. So weld that back in. So one of the things that we can do here is if we want to kind of tighten up this chin, we can use the knife. And I'm going to use line and just come from the base of the triangle and go all the way around to the base of the other triangle. And then I'll grab these points and I'm just going to kind of pull them down a little bit. Okay, and then when we smooth it, it gives us quads still, but it lets us kind of tighten up that area for the chin. Okay, and then you can also Let me turn on the lines here. Sorry about that. You probably want to take these points right up here that we have for the chin, and we'll kind of move them back in a little bit. Okay, so we get something like that. And I would probably say that we want to kind of de-emphasize that just a little. It's probably a little bit too much. So I'm just deselecting anything back here. And then I can kind of bring this up. Scale it in a little bit. And you can get something like that. Okay, so just spend a little bit of time with that. If you want to add a little bit more detail on the lips themselves, you can do that too. So the next thing we want to do is start to detail the shirt. So we have this whole body as one sort of piece. Let's start to create the different pieces of it. We'll do that next.